guys, welcome back to the channel. Maybe I should say welcome myself back to the channel. I haven't been making videos as often as I had planned to. The biggest reason is because of the weather. I don't do well when it's cold and rainy outside, and it's been that way, but now the weather is beautiful. It's time to get back to working on some projects for you. The project I'm going to be working on today is a bike that I picked up over the weekend, and I'm going to show you that to you right now. So over the weekend, I was in a little bike shop in Elon, North Carolina. That's near Burlington. And I saw this back on the floor in the corner behind a bunch of bikes. And I had an idea what it was, and I asked the guy. And I was right. Do you know what this is? You can comment down below if you've seen one before. So years ago, I'd say probably 7 years or more, there was this newer bike style that they came out with called the Urban Velo or Mini Velo. And what this is an adult sized bike that rides on 20-inch wheels, and it's made for urban environments so that it can fit on sidewalks easier, be a little bit more agile, and have better acceleration with the smaller wheels. I asked the guy about it, and he said he bought it from a bike shop that had closed down. It's incomplete, and he said he gave $60 and I gave him $60 for it. I probably overpaid, but we're going to find out, and I'm going to try to get this together. So right now, I'm going to unwrap it real quick. So right off the bat, even though I love pink, it would not be my first choice for a bike. This is a small frame. It's a 15-inch. I'm just going to put a long seat post on it and hope that I can ride it. It came with just the rear wheel, which is set up for disc, and it has a disc. It's a no-name mechanical caliper. I just threw this rotor on here, or this disc, just for mocking up until I get a regular one. It did not come with a cassette, but this is an old cassette I had, 8-speed. Great big front sprocket so that you can really turn these 20-inch wheels quickly. It is set up for disc on the front, but I don't have one. I'm just going to run a regular front wheel. If I bought a 20-inch disc wheel or built one, it would cost me more than I have in the bike. It does not have a seat post or clamp. I got to supply that. Probably the longest headset spacer I've ever seen. It's pretty wild. The flat bar, I feel like it should be a riser, and I don't know why on earth they chose to put red foam grips on a pink frame. That is just a hideous look. Tektro brake levers, Shimano 8-speed rapid fire, and that's what I'm starting with. All right, starting at the back, I'm going to stick with this 8-speed unless I find something better. I'm going to change out the smooth tires for some knobbier tires, and as I said, I've got a new rotor coming in very soon. Also a derailleur, because I couldn't find one. It needs a seat clamp, and so I just pulled this 31.8 millimeter out, and for seat post, who knows, I got a couple of these carbon fiber aero units, but I can get a lot of length out of that, so I might be sticking with that. As for pedals, I'm going to be just using some alloy cage flats. Moving up to the front, I got to find a 20-inch front wheel and also put a knobbier tread tire on it. Got to change the grips. Here's a wheel I found on a bike in the backyard. It's not a great wheel, but I can grease up the bearings and make it work. Now this tire is a 20 by 2.2, and it will not clear. It's going to rub a little bit, so I wasn't planning to run these anyway, but I just want to show how much clearance it does have. I'm going to run something a little bit smaller than that, but as knobby. Also going to paint it, because that, I mean, now it's starting to look like a clown bike. Red grips, pink frame. yellow wheel. All right, I threw a saddle on it, and now you can get an idea of the stance of this bike. Now I'm going to put a 26-inch mountain bike beside it. It's a small mountain bike, just so you can see how this lines up. All right, as you can see, oh, the fork is flipped around. Anyway, as you can see, the wheelbase is only a little bit shorter on this bike. The riding position is actually going to be very similar. Now that seat is a little bit low on that bike, but looks like it could be a fun bike once it's all put together. All right, I got a proper 160 millimeter disc rotor. Have that installed on there now, and I'm going to try these BMX tires. They're 20 by 2, and make sure that they clear so I can use those front and back. I also got a cheap derailleur and going to get this set up. I think these tires look a lot better, a lot meatier, but plenty of clearance. The front should be plenty clear too. Now I've put on this derailleur, and I am not a professional at adjusting gears and working. I can make them work, but I'm definitely not trained. Now, I do know that the best time to set up your derailleur is before you put the chain on, because you can make sure that the sprocket is lined up in the high gear, and then push it down and make sure you limit it in the low gear. And as you can see, this one's pushing right into the spokes, so I can limit that now before the chain's in the way, and then when I put the chain on, it'll be all ready to shift. I got the rim sanded and clean and ready to paint. And this is a trick I learned online years ago. You take drinking straws, and I cut them and slice them down the middle, either with scissors or razor blade, and pop them over the spokes. Then use tape to hold them from sliding if you want to paint your rim and not worry about getting the spoke nipples or spokes painted. So I'm going to paint this right now, and should look like the other one. Alright guys, I've been working on this bike that you're watching for a few days on and off, probably the same way most people with a YouTube channel with only a few hundred subscribers would do. This is a hobby for me. And last night I got a notification from another video, this video right here, where I assembled the cheapest trike that I could find on Amazon, and the comment just said useless video. So I replied and I said, why is it useless? You took time out of your day to write this. And they replied back this morning and said, because you didn't show the chain assembly. I try not to make these videos too complex, too detailed, because one, they get too long, and there's plenty of very short videos out there that could show you how to assemble a chain. So to this guy, you know, I don't know what to say to this guy, but anyway, I'll show you a chain assembly on this bike, and maybe that'll make somebody happy. Somebody else will complain that I didn't show them how to set the gears right. So here goes. This is a chain. This is a chain. This one's narrow. This one's for single speed. These are master links. There are lots of different types of master links. Pretty much all of them come with instructions. This is my replica of a chain drive. I'm going to show you how to route that chain and get it through the derailleur the correct way. A lot of people make that mistake. These are chain tools. This is the one I prefer. It's a Park Tool CT 3.2. It's got an adjustable gate on it. This is the CT3. It has a fixed gate. Good for single speed stuff. And these are just like your cheap run-of-the-mill Walmart ones. This one actually came with the trike build. I never used it. So any of these will work. Now there's also the old-fashioned way of putting a pin and hammering it down, and you can do it that way if you want. And to break a chain, if you have a chain and you can't find a master link on it, and you have a chain brake tool, you put the chain brake tool, or you put the chain through it, you line up the pin on the tool and you push it through. Now, you really kind of have to do this by feel. I usually start, and once the pin starts moving, I back off a little in case it's binding up, and then I go again. I watch where the pin is coming out, and I want it to stay in the last side of the chain. You can kind of feel it, and you saw that piece just released. I think I've got it, so I'm gonna then back it out, and hopefully, yes, the chain has come apart. Then, when it comes time to put it back together, you slide these back together. Sometimes they're loose and you're gonna have to work with it. Back out the chain tool. Slide it in here so that the loose pin is facing the pin on the tool. You get it started, get it lined up. I start to push in. If it's going smooth, I keep going, but sometimes I do the same thing. I back off and push in again. Keeps it from binding the wrong way. And then you want to push it in until the same amount of pin is showing on one side as it is on the other. And it should look like the other links. Then you back it off. Now at this point, the chain will be very stiff. And so you can work it up and down all you want, and it's not going to really do anything. What you need to do is hold it sideways like you're trying to break it, and like you're trying to break a pencil really. Turn it that way, go that way, and that should, yep, gets it back to where it should be. Okay, let's route this chain. First thing you want to do is go around the front chain wheel or chain ring. Sometimes you want to put it in front of the sprocket so you'll have more slack when you're working in the back. When it comes around the back, you want it to come over the sprocket that's on the wheel. Then it's going to come around in a figure of 8. I hear some people call derailleurs figure of 8, but it's a derailleur. It's going to come through here. This is hard doing it with one hand. Around here. And then link back to there. So it's going to come around the sprocket, around the sprocket on the back, through the S, like this. Then you attach your chain with a master link, or by putting the chain back together with a chain tool. There you go. Hope you're happy. Okay, the chain is installed. It works. I'm not going to mess with the gears until I do something about this cockpit. Now, I mentioned wanting to put a riser bar on there, and I didn't realize how narrow these bars are. I grabbed an old Bontrager bar, crowbar off of my old Gary Fisher, and this is actually longer just by a little bit. So I'm gonna take all the controls off, take these red grips off, and I'm going to put this bar on here, put the controls back. I'm gonna delete the front brake lever because I'm running no front brake until I could afford or find a front 20-inch disc brake. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this all apart now. I bought these ESI grips. I forgot about them. I've never tried a pair, and I wanted to try a pair. These are a foam grip, actually silicone grip, and a lot of people love these, and so I thought this would be a good bike to try them on. I've got carpal tunnel, and I'm always looking for something that's going to help my wrists not, or my hands not fall asleep while I'm riding. So now these, as you can tell, have a very small diameter opening, and some people use I think the instructions would tell you to use isopropyl alcohol to install these, to slip them on. But just like you saw me remove those grips, I always use an air compressor. You blow a pocket of air underneath the grip and push it on. And so that's what I'm going to be doing to put these on. All right, bike is complete. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over all the nuts and bolts and make sure everything's snug. When I put it on the ground, I'm going to align the handlebars. So that's the build on this bike, and when I finished the bike yesterday, I took it for a quick ride around the block, and I started to give a review, and then I thought, I don't need to give a review until I've ridden it. I want to ride it some off-road, some around town, and things like that. So I'm going to end this video now with just the build of this bike. It turned out very solid. It is lightweight. It's got the geometry of like a folding bike, but it doesn't fold. So be on the lookout for a video of me giving this a little test. I'm going to take it trail riding and riding around town and seeing how it does. And until then, it's a pretty bike. I'm kind of glad I have it right now, but I will get more into the details of fit and feel on the next video that's coming out. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd really appreciate some new subscribers. And if there was something wrong, something missing, let me know. Maybe I'll answer it in the next video. So thanks a lot, and I will see you on the review.